Audible? Let's hear me. So, am I audible? Yes, I'm audible, guys. Can you hear me? Yeah, you can either send message in the chat box or else you can speak so that we can get it started. Yeah, I'm audible. Hello. Yes. Should I name someone? Because I don't know whether you can hear me or not. Yes. Yeah, I'm audible. Hello. Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, about myself first. I'm Minna Sanas from Martale. It's the Central. I don't know how many of you all know Central. So I'm from the Central District. It is Martale. And I'm currently studying at the University of California. Yeah, I'm an undergraduate. Yeah, so we'll get it started. So the plan for today is to complete at least try to complete the first lesson because this is the basic lesson that you should know for both MCQ questions and the uh, essay type questions, right? So yeah, so and you guys also have to know about the structure of the paper, like how the paper comes or like how does it work, right? Anyone who knows the structure of the paper? Yeah, like how many parts are there, what you have to focus on, all those things. So yeah, this is the structure of the paper. Okay, like in short, in history, you have two papers, okay, part one and part two. So when we consider part one, okay, there we have all the MCQs to do. Okay, so you have 40 MCQs to do in the part one, which carries 2 marks each. So one MCQ will get 2 marks. So 2 into 40 equals 80. So there you'll be given with answers to select on, right? So you have a question where you can read it how many times as possible as you can. Understand the question, understand the statement they're saying, underline the important words that you read across, and then you can find the appropriate answer from the given 4 options. Okay, and then you have to underline it. Like you'll have a script paper, you have to put X in it, right? So that is how you do the MCQ paper. That is generally how you do the other papers too. Okay, and then when we consider the part two paper of history, there you have part one, part two, and part three. Okay, in history two paper, you have part one, part two, and part three. In this, in part one, we have about map marking. One thing that you have to go across is about the MCQ. Sorry, about the map marking, where you have 12 places to be marked in the Sri Lankan map and 6 places to be marked on the world map. Which is pretty easy because one place equals 1 mark. Okay, so it's pretty easy in that sense. But you have to keep on practicing those things. Okay, and then you have the one-word answer. We also call it as short answers, where a direct question will be asked and you have to answer directly. Example, we'll say, who is the first king of Anuradhapura? Yeah, anyone who knows the name of the king of Anuradhapura, the first king of Anuradhapura? You can either use a chat box or else you can speak. Both are fine with me. Yeah. Who is the first king of Anuradhapura? Yes. Okay, I received 2 answers. Okay, 3 answers. Okay. So it is King Pandukabhaya, right? King Pandukabhaya. Yes, most of you are correct. So King Pandukabhaya is the first king of Anuradhapura. Okay. The first king of Polonnaruwa is Vijayabahu. Okay, so don't get it confused. First king of Anuradhapura is Pandukabhaya and first king of Polonnaruwa is Vijayabahu. Okay. So this is a direct kind of answer which you can't answer either if you don't study. So you have to know, then you can answer this type of question. There is short answers, or we call as one-word answers. And then you are given with 2 pictures, which you have to answer 4 questions on each. Like, where do you find this? Who is the king who is related to this? What dynasty does he belong to? Like, what else other information you know about that picture? Those things, like 4 random questions will be asked from that. Okay, then you have the part 2, which is all about Sri Lankan history. So the lesson which I target you to teach you today, that is the source of studying history, the first lesson in grade 10, that comes under the Sri Lankan history part, under this. Okay, so which from where you have to select 4 questions out of 6. Okay, so out of 6, you have to select 4 questions for the Sri Lankan history part. So each of this is what we call as essay type question, where you have to, so there also we have 4 questions to answer under each section. The first one and the second one will be to name or display, to mention. The other 2 will be to explain or describe, which you have to write with a paragraph and a title by giving examples. Okay, and even in the world map, it's a world history, the same thing, where all the lessons will be related to the world history. It's about Renaissance, Industrial Revolution, then you have about American Revolution, French Revolution, Russian Revolution, and the World War I and II. This is how the paper structure of history English medium paper goes as. Clear so far? So the paper goes with, it's actually with 200 marks, which will be divided by 2 and you get out of 100. Okay, so that is the structure of the paper. Now going to this one, that is about the lesson for the day. So when we consider source of studying history, I hope it's visible. Right, when you consider source of studying history, there you have to know what history is at first. What is history? Yeah, any idea on what history is? Like, what is your perspective on history? What do you think about history? When someone says history, what does comes? Like, what is the imagination, the visual imagery that comes into your mind? Yeah. Maybe anything that you prefer, like you can talk it out. I won't be like scolding you or going against me, right? Yes. What is history in your perspective, rather than these meaning? Because yeah, I can see that I have already showed you the answer, but what is history in your perspective? Like, what do you think about it? Yeah, same thing. Studying about the past, right? Studying about the past, which is in simple term. So history, the word itself, can be divided into two, right? So let's say this as the word. So let's say this is the word history, right? It can be divided to like this, right? One as his, her kind of thing, like who are in the past, maybe, right? His, and then you can read the word story, right? His story. That means that is someone else's story that we want to study. That means maybe they are not alive or maybe they are alive, but it's not our story, it's someone else. So history in simple terms is the study of past human activities about our ancestors, about the people who are already dead. But if you consider of history as studying something that we don't need to, like, because most of the students at this age, they think, why are even studying history? They are already dead. So why are we supposed to study when they are dead? Why are they making us suffer? Right? But think of history like this. So normally, you guys have rumors. You guys gossip with your friends about another friend, or maybe with your parents about your relatives, right? You gossip. That's the nature of human, right? I gossip, you gossip, everyone gossips, right? So think of history as if you're gossiping about the people who are dead, about the people who were there in the past, about our kings, about the heroes, about the leaders, right? So it's just we gossiping about them, like how did they eat, how did they wear clothes, how did they make a house, right? How did they survive, right? Because we know that they didn't have technology, they didn't have these facilities that we are having right now, right? But they lived. So how did they survive? How did they like manage to survive in that dangerous situation? Because it's animals all around the place, right? They had to hunt and eat. They won't get food like nowadays. Nowadays, with money, we can buy anything we want. But in the past, they didn't have that. Even simply money, they didn't have it, right? So think of history as gossiping, like you gossiping about fun stuff with your friends and family. Okay, so history in simple terms, it's the study of the past human activity. Then, to study history, we need something named as historical sources, or we call it sources. Sources, it is what helps us to study about the past, like maybe books, or maybe inscriptions, ruins, buildings, something like that. Okay, that is what helps us study about the past, like a source that helps us study about the past. So let's say, yeah, now you guys are studying history, you're studying maths, science, literature, etc., etc. Like, yeah, you guys are doing like 9 subjects in your O levels, right? So how do you study that? Are you not given with the syllabus? You are given with the syllabus, right? So that is your source, that is your guide, right? That is what helps you to get knowledge, you to get information, right? Not only about history, even all the subjects, other subjects are also history, which is already found by some, right? Even maths, all those theories that you study, even the science, all the scientific names are already found by someone. So even in there, you're studying about history. You're studying something that is found already by someone else, right? Any subject, maybe it's commerce and business, maybe it's art, maybe it's science, maths, literature, every little subjects that you're studying and that you will be studying in the future, it is already found by someone. So history is very important in that case, right? So historical sources is what helps us study about the past. Yeah, clear? I don't know whether you can hear me properly or not. Or am I like, is my voice slow or something like that? Sorry. Okay. Thank you. Thank you Fermi law. Yeah. So there is that. So sources in short is a thing that helps us study about the past. That is sources. So when we consider sources, it is divided into two things. Okay, two types. One as literary sources and the other one as archaeological sources. So what is literary sources now? Sources means it's what helps us study about the past. Okay, which is divided to literary and archaeological. So first we'll study about the literary sources. So in short, literary sources means written documents, something that is written, okay, where they have alphabets, where they have symbols, like that, okay, something that is written on something. Maybe they write it on older leaves, or maybe barks of trees, or maybe stones, okay, or maybe on walls, like that, where they write something, is what we call as literary sources. In short, we call it as written documents. So literary sources are written documents. So these written documents are written by the past people. Okay, not by the people who are currently present. Okay, keep your mics muted so it won't disturb others.
Zoom meeting. History class. Appa कहता
Keeps your mics muted, please. Okay, thank you. So that is literary sources. Literary sources in short is written documents. So even this written documents is divided into two again. One as local literary sources, the other one is foreign literary sources. When we consider LL, that is local literary sources, it is written by local people. Local means what? Local means the people who are within the country, by the Sri Lankans. So because here we are studying about Sri Lankan history, right? So it's written by local Sri Lankan people, our citizens. That is local literary sources. Right. So when we consider local literary sources, we have Deepavamsa, Mahavamsa, then Rajavaliya, Thupavamsa, Dhatuvamsa, a lot of things like that. Okay, I'll explain that in a while. Okay, so first we'll complete local and then foreign, and then we'll go to the detailed of each of those. Okay, so that is simply that is local literary sources, which is written by the Sri Lankans. The other one is foreign literary sources, which is written by the foreigners. Okay, so when we consider this one, that is the foreign literary sources, this one is again divided into. Okay, this foreign literary sources is again divided into one as the people who came to Sri Lanka, like who really came to Sri Lanka to visit our country, like who really came. Okay, those people who came to Sri Lanka. The other one is who didn't come to Sri Lanka. These people, the second type is they didn't come to Sri Lanka. Okay, so these ones are the people who came. I'll put a plus and a minus so you'll understand. So people who came is plus, people who didn't come is minus. They didn't come to Sri Lanka. Okay, so that is the two types of foreign resources. So foreign resources in short is written by the foreigners about Sri Lanka, not about their country, it's about Sri Lanka. Okay, that is that. Then, so that is what I have given over here in short description. Okay, so you can understand even after class. And this one about archaeological sources. Archaeological sources means it's inscriptions, ruins, monuments, epigraphies, caves, all those things comes under archaeological sources, which is that is there and like it can't be easily destroyed. Archaeological sources, archaeological monuments can't be easily destroyed. Why? Because maybe they are rocks and caves and stones. Okay. While on the other hand, written ones, that is literary sources, are written on something, maybe oral leaves, papers, like that. So it's easily destroyable. While these ones are undestroyable, like archaeological sources are like we can't destroy it easily. Let's say because of a landslide or because of earthquake or something like that, it destroys. But really, its destruction is if it is no longer there. But archaeological sources, it will be going under the earth. Maybe the soil, the mud will cover it up. And even though if we dig it up again, we can find it. Right? So that is how archaeological sources work. So now we'll dive into the literary sources. So literary sources, as I said here before, it's about written documents. So in written documents, we have two types as local literary sources and foreign literary sources. First about local literary sources, which is written by the local people, the Sri Lankans. So in that, we have the oldest one, the very, very first written document that is found in Sri Lanka, which is Deepavamsa. Okay, so when we consider Deepavamsa, Deepavamsa is a literary source which was written around 4th century AD. Like it's like a long time before 4th century. Now, how many centuries are we in? Which century are we in? We are in the 21st century, right? So that is 4th century. So it's think of how old it is, right? It's like more than 18, 19 centuries before, right? 19 centuries before. Now we are currently in 21st century, right? And this is written in the 4th century. And for this one, for writing Deepavamsa, we didn't have a proper author, like we didn't have a definite author. So we can say that this is the person who have written. We didn't have someone like that. Let's say if I write a book, if I write a novel, if there is any mistakes in my novel, you can contact me, right? You can like ask me, why did you write like this? And so if not, you can criticize, why did you write like this, right? But for Deepavamsas, there's no one to criticize like that. Because we don't know who the owner is, who the one who wrote it. Okay, so that is the main problem. So because of that, in Deepavamsa, we can see a lot of mistakes. Grammatical errors, no organization, unplanned. It's like messed up. Okay, it's like fully messed up. But in that, we can find information about two things. Okay, two information is mentioned in Deepavamsa. One is the starting of Sri Lankan society to the end of till the King Mahasingha. Okay, so from the starting of Sri Lanka. So when is the start of Sri Lanka? What is the starting history of Sri Lanka? How does Sri Lanka start? Yeah, anyone who knows, who remembers grade 6th and 7th? In there, we had this part of how Sri Lanka started. So this is how it started. So Sri Lanka. So what happened is back in like late 1st, 2nd century, what happened is Sri Lanka was not a country. Like it wasn't like a island. Okay, it's like different tribal groups were ruling Sri Lanka, like Yakka tribe, Desi tribe, Naga tribe. Okay, like we have a lot of tribes like that. So what happened is in India, there was this king. Okay, so he had a son who was very naughty. Like he did all the things that a boy can do. Okay, like all the naughty things. Okay, so what happened is this king, he chased away his own son from India, and this prince ended up coming to Sri Lanka. This prince name is Prince Vijaya. So Prince Vijaya ended up coming to Sri Lanka. He landed in Thammapanniya. Okay, he landed in Thammapanniya with his 500 other companions, 500 other friends. Okay, so he came to Sri Lanka with 500 people who were all his friends. So then what happened is he fell in love with, like at first sight, he fell in love with a girl, with a girl named Queenie. Okay, with a girl named Queenie. She was the only daughter of the Yakka tribe leader. So Yakka tribe, I said you right, it's a tribal group that is there in Sri Lanka back then. So she, like these two people, that is Prince Vijaya and Princess Queenie, they both fell in love at first sight and they had two sons. So then what happened is this Prince Vijaya with his 500 people and the Yakka tribe people with the other Sri Lankan, they were like fighting, and then Prince Vijay captured Sri Lanka. That is how Sri Lanka started. Okay, so from this story about Anuradhapura Kingdom, Polonnaruwa Kingdom, all those things, till the end of King Mahasen. Mahasen is one of the king from Polonnaruwa district, Polonnaruwa Kingdom. Sorry, Polonnaruwa Kingdom. Okay, so this is the information that is there in Deepavamsa. This is one information that it is there. That is there. Deepavamsa. Other than that, we also have the information about the Buddha Sasana. Buddha Sasana, we call it Buddhist order. Okay, Buddhist order means how Buddhism was brought to Sri Lanka. Do you know how Buddhism was brought to Sri Lanka? Because at first, our country wasn't a Buddhist country. Right? At first, our country wasn't a Buddhist country. It was brought by the Indian people to Sri Lanka. That is how Buddhism came to Sri Lanka. So what happened is, so this is again a story. So we have a king named Devanampiyatissa. Any idea on that? Devanampiyatissa? I'll just put D-E-T. Okay, D-E-T. That is Devanampiyatissa. So Devanampiyatissa is a king from Sri Lanka. Okay, Devanampiyatissa is a king from Sri Lanka. Then what happened is, he had a pen friend. What is pen friend? Pen friend. P-E-N. What is pen friend? Pen friend means a friend that you have through letter writing. So you guys haven't met each other yet, but you know each other because of letters being passed. Okay, so that is pen friend, we call it. Sorry, pen friend. Okay, so Devanampiyatissa, the Sri Lankan king at that time, had a pen friend named Ashoka. Yeah, I'll put as A here. Okay, Ashoka. This guy, King Ashoka, is from India. Okay, this person is from India. So they were like literally very good friends, like best friends kind of thing. Okay, like really good friends. So what happens is, Devanampiyatissa will be sending gifts to Ashoka. Ashoka will be sending gifts to Devanampiyatissa. Okay, like they were each passing gifts. Okay, this person is our king Devanampiyatissa. He sent jewels, elephants, yeah, like a lot of things like that, like valuable things. Even King Ashoka will be sending those things. So in one such occasion, King Ashoka sent the bo tree, okay, which is the symbol of Buddhism, right? The bo tree through his son named Arahat Mahinda Thero. So King Ashoka had a son named Arahat Mahinda Thero. Okay, so King Ashoka sent the bo tree and Buddhism through his own son named Ashoka, Prince Arahat Mahinda Thero, and that is how Buddhism was brought to Sri Lanka. Clear so far? So this two story from the starting of Sri Lanka till the end of King Mahasen's rule, and about the Buddhist order, about the Buddha Sasana, how Buddhism was brought to Sri Lanka. These two information is what is written in Deepavamsa. It is written in the 4th century, but we don't know who really wrote it because that information is not provided. Okay, that is one thing. Then we have the next important literary text that you should know from the local literary sources, which is Mahavamsa. Okay, Mahavamsa. Mahavamsa was written in the 5th and 6th century. That means it took 200 years to write. 1 century equals 100, right? If you guys have watched cricket, then you would know. 1 century means 100 runs, right? So 5th and 6th century means it's 200 years. That is how they wrote Mahavamsa. And the first part of Mahavamsa was written by a person named Bhikkhu Mahanama Thero. Yes, it was Bhikkhu Mahanama Thero who wrote the first part of Mahavamsa. So if there is any mistakes, then we can criticize him. Right? We can say that he didn't write it properly. That is why there are mistakes. But it had less mistakes because he organized, he planned how to write the book. Okay, most of the things that is written in Mahavamsa are from Deepavamsa, but it was well planned one, like with less mistakes, less grammatical errors. Like it was like well structured. Okay, so Bhikkhu Mahanamatero wrote Mahavamsa, like he wrote the first part of Mahavamsa because no one can live for like 200 years. So he wrote the first part, and then after his death, other people after him, like other Theros after him, wrote it, which is not provided in your syllabus. Okay, so Bhikkhu Mahanamatero wrote Mahavamsa in Pali language, which is in the 4th and 5th century AD. And then this person, that is Bhikkhu Mahanamatero, he lived in a place named Diksanda Senaviya Pirivena. Any idea on what Pirivena is? What is Pirivena? Because unless you guys talk, I don't know whether you understand or not. Yeah? What is Pirivena? You can talk or use the chat box. Don't feel awkward. Even if you're wrong, it's fine. It's like you're just learning it. Right? Yes. Yeah, what is Pirivena? Are you searching in Google or using ChatGPT? Okay, so in short, a Pirivena means a place where monks live. Okay, like it's a school kind of thing for the monks, where they study, where they practice their religion, where they do every little thing in there. That is what we call Spirivana. Simply, it's a place where monks live, Theros live. So it is where Mahanamatero lived. Bhikkhu Mahanamatero lived in Diksanda Senaviya Pirivana. Clear? So that is that. And then we'll continue. So we also have these two main ones, which is Deepavamsa and Mahavamsa. Other than that, we also have other literary sources that is written by the local people. Okay, so in that case, we have books that was written before Deepavamsa and Mahavamsa, which is the books that is not like it is important in the Sri Lankan history. It is really important for the Buddhist community. Okay, but it is not as important as Mahavamsa and Deepavamsa. Okay, so those books which is written before Mahavamsa and Deepavamsa is Sihala Attakatha Mahavamsa, Uttara Vihara Attakatha, and Vinaya Attakatha. So these three books are very important, which are so those are the books which was written before Mahavamsa and Deepavamsa. Okay, because when we consider local resources, it is not only Deepavamsa and Mahavamsa, because we have a lot of books written by the local people. Okay, then we have these ones, which is so this is also very important because so what happened is so we have we have Mahavamsa written in Pali language. So how many of you understand Pali? Yeah, how many of you understand Pali? Because I don't. I personally I don't understand Pali. But in Kalani they teach Pali, but I'm not gonna go there because I'm doing another degree. Right? So 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 what happened is they translated Mahavamsa. They like translated, they annotated Mahavamsa from Pali language to the language they understand at that time. So this is what we call as Mahavamsa Tikava, or we call it Vansatta Pakshini, or annotation of Mahavamsa. All three. Mahavamsa Tikava, Vansatta Pakshini. Those are both what we call as the translation of Mahavamsa. That is translating from Pali to the language they understand. Okay. Then other than that, we also have these books, which are books that is related to different areas of Sri Lanka. So when we consider, so let's say this is Sri Lanka. Okay, it's not that perfect, but still. So when we consider this as Sri Lanka, we have Rajarata. Okay, like we have this part. Okay, and then this part as another one. This part as another one. Okay, it goes like that. Okay, so in that case, this part is what we call as Maya Rata. Okay, this is Maya Rata. This is Ruhunu Rata. This is Rajarata. And this is Malaya Rata. This is Maya, Malaya, Rajarata, Ruhunu. Okay, so that is how it was divided in the past. And this was Jaffna. Okay, so when we consider Rajarata, so if we are studying about Rajarata civilization, Rajarata areas that belong to that area, we have to study these. There is Bodhivamsa, Tupavamsa, Dhatuvamsa, and Saddharma Lankara. These are books that you have to study when we are referring to Rajarata civilization. Okay, and then we have these books, that is Nikaya Sangrahaya and Rajavalya, which are two books that you have to study if you are going to study about Gampana to Kotte Kingdom. Okay, to study about those periods, we have to study these two books. And then when we consider books that you have to study about when you are studying about Kotte and Kandy, then you have to refer Sandesha Kavya, Prashasti Kavya, and Siddha. So, yeah, so I know that these things sounds like more history, okay? But what you can do to solve this problem of reading new words, like because this might sound new to you, okay? If you are grade 10 people now, this might sound very like really historic, right? So for that, to solve that problem, what you can do is to reread these words until you pronounce it correctly, until you know it correctly, because these are names of the books which we can't change because it's all written by someone, right? So we can't change those things. And I know these words are like really long. So if we say Saddharma Lankare, this is very long, right? So what you can do is divide the word Sad, Dharma, and then Lankare. So if you divide the word and read like that, then you'll have the perfect pronunciation, and also you'll understand it perfectly, like how and what is there, because they are not giving you information about each and every book where you have to study. This is just the names of the book you have to study, right? You have to know. So that is about the local literary sources, which is written by the Sri Lankan people. Then coming to foreign literary sources, there are, as I said before, foreign literary sources is divided into two groups, as the people who came to Sri Lanka and the people who did not come to Sri Lanka. So when we consider people who came to Sri Lanka, these are the 5 people. Okay, these are the 5. Which is first we have Fahisantero. So Fahisantero. So when we consider Fahisantero, he is a person from China. Okay, he's from China. Any C drama or K drama fans over here? Yeah. So I'll consider it as a no then. Yeah. Okay. So it's fine. So when we consider Fahisantero as a person from China, so what he really did was he, by foot, he walked from China to India barefoot. Okay, like he didn't take any vehicles. He didn't go on a ship or anything like that. He just walked from China to India. And then from India, he took a boat or ship where like it's not his own. He took someone else and then reached Sri Lanka. Is how he came to Sri Lanka. And after he came to Sri Lanka, he wrote a book on Sri Lanka, which is named as Account on Buddhist Kingdom. Okay, that is a book written by Fahi Santero when he visited Sri Lanka. Okay, then we have Ibn Battuta. Ibn Battuta is a person from Saudi Arabia. Okay, so he came to Sri Lanka during Gampala Kingdom. So he is the one who saw a white elephant in Sri Lanka. Okay, and he saw kings such as Arya Chakravarti, Nayaka kings, right? Gampala kings. He saw those people. Okay, that is Ibn Baldur's traveling account. That is his book's name. I have also given the name of the book so you can understand what that is. Because that is also asked in the MCQ. In that case, yeah, the Rajarata civilization. This one, right? Yeah, done. Shadir. Okay, that is that. And then we have another person named Philippus Baldius. So Philippus Baldius is a Dutch person. Dutch means a person who came from Holland. So people who came from Holland is what we call as Dutch. Dutch even came to Sri Lanka, right? So one such Dutch person who came to Sri Lanka is Philippus Baldius, and he wrote the book named The Sri Lankan Chronicle of Baldius. So it's the book's name of which was written by him. And then we have Robert Knox. So he's a British person, he's an English person, and he named his book as Edda Hela Diva. Okay, Edda Hela Diva is the name of the book written by Robert Knox. Edda Hela Diva. It's a very huge book, which if you want to do history for your degree, then you can read it because that is compulsory for you guys to read. Okay, then we have Ribeiro. So Ribeiro is a person from Portugal, so he's a Portuguese. His book's name is Ribeiro's Lankan History. Ribeiro's Lankan History. These are the people who came to Sri Lanka. These are the only 5 people who came to Sri Lanka. We have more people, but this is what you are given with in your syllabus. Only 5 people who are given in your syllabus, okay, who came to Sri Lanka. Then we have the people who didn't come to Sri Lanka. So these people didn't come to Sri Lanka, such as Aristotle. Anyone who knows Aristotle, I'll be really impressed if you know. Yeah, anyone who knows Aristotle? Any idea on the name itself? Aristotle? You might have heard. Who is Aristotle? So Aristotle is a great Greek philosopher. Okay, he was also a king. Okay, he was a great philosopher too. Okay, so when we consider Aristotle, he wrote the book named De Munro. So his name of his book is De Munro, which is very much important because he is a person who didn't come to Sri Lanka. So these people are the people who didn't come to Sri Lanka. So how do you think that they got information about Sri Lanka? How can they know about Sri Lanka without coming to Sri Lanka? Yes, these people got the information about Sri Lanka by asking the people who came to Sri Lanka before. So we have Ribeiro, Ibn Battuta, Philippus Baldius, then Fang Santero, right? These are people who came to Sri Lanka, right? So from them, these people got the information about Sri Lanka. That is how they wrote about Sri Lanka without them coming to Sri Lanka. So Aristotle is also someone like that. He didn't come to Sri Lanka, but he wrote about Sri Lanka in his book named De Munro. And Megasthenes, he's a Greek. He wrote the book named Indica, which is about Sri Lanka again. Yeah, mostly these questions comes in the MCQ. That is why I'm like giving you detailed information about these things, like saying the story of Fahis and Thera and stuff. So that is asked in the MCQs. What happened next time? I don't know those things. If not, you'll like end up just looking at the paper and then Shouldn't do. Because you should know something to write on the paper. Right? You can't keep the paper blank. Right? Then this Megasthenes is a person from Greek who wrote the book name. And then we have a person named Pliny. He's a Roman person. Rome is like a very great kingdom, empire in the past. Okay, so Pliny is also one such person who is very famous at that time. So his book's name is Naturalis Historia. Naturalis Historia. This have come for MCQ several times. Naturalis Historia. And then we have the next person, which is Ptolemy. So his full name is Claudius Ptolemy. So when we consider Claudius Ptolemy, he is actually the general. That means a commander. Okay, he's a commander from Rome. So he was a general after the death of Augustus Caesar. Emperor Augustus, any idea on Emperor Augustus? Anyone who likes to read mythology and stuff? Civilization of and Greek and Roman, anyone who is interested in Greek and Roman? In that case, you might have known him. So Ptolemy, he's a person from Rome, and he's one of the geographer. So he's the first one who drew the map of Sri Lanka, the brown version of Sri Lankan map, the old version of it. It was written drawn by Ptolemy. T is silent, like K silent in knife. K is silent in knife, right? Same like that only. Ptolemy, P is silent. Okay, that is the Sri Lankan map being drawn by Ptolemy. And then we have Swanswantero, who's a Chinese person who wrote the books on the records of tours. Like all of his tours were written, but he didn't come to Sri Lanka, but he got information from the people who came. He traveled other countries, but he didn't come to Sri Lanka. Okay, then Fernando de Queiroz. So when we consider Fernando de Queiroz, he's also a person from Portugal, and his book on Sri Lanka is also pretty famous. Okay. Other than that, we also have Indian books, okay, like written in Tamil, Indian books, which gives us information about Sri Lanka. So in the books such as Manimegalai, Silappadigaram, and Padigatpattu, these are three books, very famous books, written by the Indian people, which has information about Sri Lanka. Okay, so that is those. So far clear? Because now we're going to move to archaeological sources. We are done with literary sources. Clear with the literary sources? Literary sources, again, simply it's about written documents. So all these are written versions of it. All these are written. Clear with this? I hope it is. If not, you can ask. You can come forward with your own questions and arguments. I would love to argue. Yeah. Thank you, miss. So when we consider archaeological sources, sources in short, as I said to you before, it's about ruins, epigraphies, then inscriptions, and all those stuffs, like all which is like physically available even now. So when we consider epigraphies, there's a written things that is on stones and clay and rocks and plates and stuff, like which is like inscribed on it. We don't write it with a pen or a paint. We write with sticks and stones, like inscribe on it. That is what we call as epigraphies. Ruins, you might know, like buildings and stuff, which is no longer being used by people, which is like half destroyed or being natural destroyed. Maybe nature destroyed it, or maybe human destroyed it. Ruins. Drawings, you might say, example, we have the Sigiriya graffiti, where we have half nude female, right, with jewels on them, right, and stuff. That is drawings. Then we have sculptures and stuff about kings and stuff. The antiquities. Antiquities is, so example, in my family, okay, we have a sword. You know what is a sword, right? We have a sword. It's a generational thing that is passed down to us. So it's actually my great grandfather used it, I guess. Okay, he's from India. So he have used it, and then it is even now with us. So it's an antique thing. Antiquity. It's an antiquity thing that we have, which is being used by them or being created by them. Okay, so these people who were there in the ancient time, they might have used it, or maybe they might have created it, which is just an object now. Because we don't use those nowadays. We don't use those. It's antiquities. Okay, and then we have inscriptions. So far these things are not that important. What you have to know is about inscriptions, which is this one. Coins and ruins. These things are also important when we consider MCQs. Even the part 2, because they ask the types or names, some inscriptions, types of inscription in the part 2 paper 2. They might ask you to state 3 or state 4, something like that, or describe 2, like that. So when we consider inscriptions, inscriptions are also known as stellipi or shellipi. Both are the same thing. Okay, so when we consider inscription, we have 5 types: cave inscription, pile inscription, stone inscription, slab inscription, and seed inscription. Cave means it's a cave, literally a cave. You know, a cave, right? Stone, made out of stone, like it's a natural thing, which we can hide or which we can use for security, kind of thing. Right? So inscription is also known as, cave inscription is also known as Lenlipi. So these words which I have given, which I have provided within brackets, are Sinhala terms for these inscriptions. Okay, Lenlipi, Thamlipi, Girilipi, Poralipi, Asanalipi. Okay, these 5 are the Sinhala terms for these types of inscriptions. So, for example, for cave inscription, we call it as Lenlipi. The best example for that is Mihintala cave. Mihintala is a cave inscription, right? And then we have Thamlipi, which is what we call as pile inscription, which is there is examples Badulla Pila inscription. You might have heard about it, Badulla Pila inscription, right? In there only we have a lot of rules and regulations related to law, related to trade and economy. That it says not to sell oil on Pleiades, not to sell beetles and arigonauts while keeping it on the sun. A lot of like rules and regulations are mentioned in the Badulla Pila inscription. And then stone inscription, which is what we call as Girilipi, it's all around Sri Lanka. Okay. Then we have slab inscription, which is known as Poralipi. The best example is Galpatha inscription. So Galpatha inscription is already given in your textbook, right? So I think it's page number 2 or 3 in your grade 10 lesson number 1, right? So you have a slab inscription, which is named as Galpatha inscription, we call it, right? So mainly when you consider Galpatha inscription, you should know who created it, who is the owner of it. That is Kirti Srini Sankamalla. King Kirti Srini Sankamalla is the one who made Galpatha inscription. Right, he's the person who is authority to it. Right, so Galpatha inscription is made by Kirti Srini Sankamalla. And they might also ask, so normally this is how they ask questions on the picture description paper, part of the picture description. Right, so they might ask who created it, to which kingdom does it belong to, which is Polonnaruwa kingdom. Right, they might ask to which dynasty does that king belong to. Yes, he belongs to Kalinga dynasty. Right, so this is how they ask in the picture description part. Okay, so then we have the concept of Brahmi. So Brahmi is a languages that is used in the past when writing inscriptions. The Brahmi language is that is widely used during Anuradhapura kingdom. Okay, so Brahmi is a language that is widely used by the Anuradhapura kingdom people when they write inscriptions in Sri Lanka. Then about coins. So coins is actually interesting. So anyone who have visited the Colombo National Museum, right? Anyone who have visited Colombo National Museum? Oh no. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So if you have visited, you might know there are coins, there are like antiquities, there are gold, like made out of gold, jewels, potteries that is there in the museum. So in one section you have these coins. Those are all foreign coins that is found in Sri Lanka, like Chinese ones and Arabian ones, Roman ones, a lot of coins like that. Indian ones, right? Like those coins are found in Sri Lanka. So this act of finding foreign coins in Sri Lanka shows us that we had foreign connections, like we had trade connections with the foreign people, with other countries, with foreign countries. That is an important factor that you should notice when studying about coins. So when we consider coins, the oldest coin, the very old coin that is found in Sri Lanka is what we call as Kahapana. It's also known as Purana or Dharana, but normally it's Kahapana. So the oldest coin that is found in Sri Lanka is Kahapana. So when we consider, so normally, how do you produce a coin? What is the metal they use to produce a coin? Yeah. Okay, copper one. Yes, that's correct. What else? What else do they use when producing a coin? What is the metal they use to produce a coin? Copper. Yes, come up with answers. Okay, iron. Copper, iron, because yes, they used iron also when producing coins in the past. Copper, iron, silver, and gold. Okay, so normally when we consider three things, three metals they used to make coins with, one is copper, gold, and silver. Iron and clay was also used, but it was not that famous. But even iron and clay was used to make coins. Okay, but mainly it is copper, silver, and gold. So when we consider gold coins, we have coins named as Tusker coins, Swastika coins, Lakshmi coins. Okay, these are all gold coins, which is made out of gold. Coins made out of gold are named like this. Then we have copper coins. When we consider copper coins, we have a coin named Thammamassa. Okay, so Thammamassa is actually a coin made out of copper, which is found in Polonnaruwa Kingdom. Okay, which shows that during Polonnaruwa Kingdom also they had these trading activities with foreign countries. Okay, then we have a concept named numismatics. So when we consider numismatic, we actually have a degree on it. A literal degree we can do on numismatics. That is, numismatics means studying of old coins, whether it's gold, silver, copper, clay, iron, anything. All of the old coins, studying of about those things is what we know as numismatics. Okay. Then we have ancient ruins such as Galpatha inscription, Panakkala copper plate, Vallipuram golden plate. These are three things that you should know. Those are all ruins. Okay, so when we consider Galpatha inscription, as I mentioned you above, it is being produced by Kirtini Sankamalla. It is located in Narva, right? And this person, this king named Kirtini Sankamalla belongs to Kalinga dynasty of Polonnaruwa Kingdom. Okay. Then when we consider Panakada copper plate, so Panakada copper plate was created by Vijayabahu I. Okay, it is made out of copper, right? And Vijayabahu I belongs to Polonnaruwa kingdom. Again, because Polonnaruwa kingdom's first king was Vijayabahu I. Okay. Other than these two, we also have another one which is which is Vallipuram golden plate. Okay, Vallipuram golden plate was created by King Vasabha, who belongs to Lambakara dynasty. King Vasabha, who belongs to Lambakara dynasty. Okay, so that is about those things. This is how they generally ask questions on for the MCQs and also for 1 or 2 questions on essay type answers. But mostly when you consider essay type questions, which is, so this is how I normally do theory classes and the paper class. So what I do is I'll teach the whole lesson and then we'll be studying about the essay type questions and then and now give a set of questions for you to answer right now. Okay, but I can't do it as this is a free session and that it's just for you to understand what this lesson is because this is very important when you consider your grade 10s and 11s and like it's very important for your O-level examination. Okay, so that is that. And these are some essay type questions, like type of notes, not notes, like topics that you have to focus on for the essay type questions. So first one is about the importance of studying history. So before starting these things, I can just give you a sum up on all those things. But before starting these things, did you understand so far? Because I have already I'm done with the lesson. Like most of the important things that I want to cover, I'm like done with all those things. So are you guys clear with these things? Did you guys understand about this lesson? Because I'm a bit sick also today. Yeah, okay. Anyone else wants to apply? Yeah, clear so far? Yes, clear so far? Yes, thank you. So, yeah, so when we consider the essay type of questions, because this is also very important for you to understand to gain a proper marks, right? So when we consider essay type questions from this lesson, we have questions like what is the importance of studying history? What is the importance of studying archaeological sources? How are archaeological sources destroyed? Okay, what is the importance of coins? What is the importance of rains? Okay, these are questions that is mostly asked in essay type questions in history paper. Okay, so when we consider the importance of studying history, we can give you you can give these 3 topics where you have to provide a paragraph under each of these topic where you have to explain about the topic that you're writing. So let's say one importance of studying history is to understand properly of the society and the place where one lives. Okay, this is our society, the world one lives. To understand the society, we have to study about history. So under that, you can write saying that to understand, to study, like by studying history, we can understand of the society, like to see whether this people who are acting like this, maybe they are rude, or maybe to understand the society, like whether they are good or bad, so that we can we can correct them in our life, right, without we making any mistakes, right? And also you can give a for example, you can say like in the past, they had Gamika, Gruhapati, and stuff that comes in lesson number 2, lesson number 3 and 4. Okay, I hope you guys know that. If not, you can join the various classes to get more information on that. So when we consider Gruhapati, Gamika, and stuff, so through studying those things, through studying those history, that we can understand the society, like how did the society work in Sri Lanka before, right? That is an example you can provide. Then when we consider the second topic, which is constructing future by understanding the present through past experience. So this is simply like this. So if you want to have a proper future, then you have to do your present, like you have to make your present very pleasant, like in a very happy, joyful, positive way. If you have your present in a positive way only, by the past experience, like if you have negative things in the past only, you can make your present being happy. Then only you can have your future happy too, right? For that also, you can give an example. For example, we have a king named King Sri Vikramadisinghe, right? He is actually the last king of Kandyan Kingdom. Because of him only, we lost our independence, like our kingship, like our country turned into a colony. Like British came and captured us. That's because of King Sri Vikramadisinghe was a drunkard, like he was addicted to alcohol. So because of that only, he was like arrested by the British people, and our country came under colonial. So you can say by giving this example, you can say we can like provide like, or we can stop drinking so that people will not go crazy. Because if not, we might lose our country again. Right? So you can give some such examples. Then building up national reconciliation by loving humanity. So when we consider this topic, that is by studying history, you can construct a peaceful, united society without fighting, without having conflicts, without having any racial discrimination. Right? So to have a humanitarian, a peaceful, united, calm environment, we have to understand society, right? We have to understand history. If not, we won't have a peaceful environment, right? So that is that. How you generally answer such questions. So we'll do some MCQ so you'll understand how you have to answer this MCQ question. These are, we'll do some question that is like we can do the first 3. That's what I have taught you today. Okay, so the first question. So this is how you are supposed to do the MCQ question. Okay, so first what you can do is read the answers. Okay, read the MCQ answer. This is Deepavamsa, Mahavamsa, Dhatuvamsa, Tupavamsa. Then second step, you can read the question. Okay, or else you can do like this. Read the question and then read the answer. Both are correct. Okay, so the question is, select the chronicle. Chronicle means inscription or a source. Okay, chronicle means inscription or source. Select the chronicle which is considered as the oldest and consists errors of repetition. So what is the oldest text from these ones? From these 4, what is the oldest one? What is the oldest text we have in here? That is Deepavamsa. Yes, correct, right? So the oldest text we have is this. The second part of the question says consist errors of repetition, like it has errors in it. So that is also again Deepavamsa, because in Deepavamsa only we have a lot of repeated errors, grammatical errors, right? Unorganized structure, those things. But in Mahavamsa, we have less mistakes there. Right? That is that. Then, the first part of Mahavamsa was written by. So, who wrote the first part of Mahavamsa? We have 4 options here. Mahanama Thera, Mahinda Thera, Mihindu Thera, Buddhaghosa Thera. That is, again, You're correct. That is Mahanamathera. Where did Mahanamathera live? He lived in Diksanda Senaviya Piriven. It's a place where monks live. Right? Diksanda Senaviya Piriven is the place where Mahanamathera lived. Clear so far? Okay. Then the next one. I think with this we can stop for the day, right? Because I'm a bit not well also. So select the correct pair which consists above the king and inscription made by them. So you have to select one of the answer from all of these four where you have the correct pair. So Galpata inscription, is Galpata inscription created by King Rajasingha I? Nope. Right? It is not. Because Galpata inscription was created by whom? King Nisanka Malla. This king. Kirti Nisanka Malla is the one who is related to Galpata inscription. So the first answer is a wrong answer. So it's not the correct answer for this question. Right? This question says to select the correct pair. Right, next one. Panakada Copper Plate and Vijayabahu I. So is Panakada Copper Plate written by Vijayabahu I? Yes or no? Yeah. Is Panakada Copper Plate written by Vijayabahu I? I thought of this today. Yes, right? It is written by Vijayabahu I. So that's the correct answer for this question. But anyway, we'll also discuss these two. So Vallipuram Golden Plate. Vallipuram Golden Plate was written by King Vasabha, who is over here. It's not by Nisanka Malla. Okay. Sorabharavava inscription, it is written by Udaya IV. King Udaya IV is the one who wrote Sorabharavava inscription. Sorabharavava inscription is what we also call as Badullapila inscription or Badulla inscription. Both are the correct. Both the same thing. So clear so far? This is how they give you MCQ questions. Okay, like these are map marking things. Okay, so if you want, I can like send you this PDF on the group, the structure on this one, because this is very important for you to understand. You can try out these remaining MCQs and the map Shrankan and the word rock. So I hope you're clear for the day. You understand what I taught you today. Yeah, I'll send you the group link. Aren't you in the group? Okay, wait. I'll just find the group and send you. This is a common group which I do the free sessions on. So if you want to join my classes in the future, then you can contact the coordinator from this group. So you can get it contacted. I hope I can find the link. Oh yeah, I found it. Wait, I'll send you the chat box. So yeah, that is the link for the group. So that is a common group for history. Yeah. So yeah, so that is for the day. So I hope you guys understand about the structure, about the first lesson mainly. Lesson number 1. So if someone else asks you what is history and like what are the types of sources, like and name some historians who's related to local literary sources, foreign literary sources, types of inscriptions, what is the importance of history, those things. I hope now you know how to answer. Yeah. So yeah, I really hope that you guys understood. Yeah. So if you wanna join in the future for all the theory and the past paper things, I can contact the coordinator from the group. Okay then. So we'll wind up for the day then. Yeah, thank you for joining. Yes. Welcome. See you. Bye.